Yes, guys, welcome back to the Cannon Podcast. We are here with. Is this the AFC James YouTube Cannon Podcast debut?
Yes, it is.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
I've never been on the Cannon Pod
that is a
before.
big surprise. That's a big
Uh,
surprise. But anyways,
that's-
welcome to the Cannon. How you doing, bro?
Thank you, man. I'm good. I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to chat. I've got some thoughts around the forward situation, which I know is going to be kind of the main topic of the show. And I need other people to tell me I'm not going crazy. So I'm excited to actually get it all out there and just chat about Arsenal's transfer window and what's left of it.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of flashed by. Obviously, we were both in the
Mm.
USA, which is very interesting. Some very intriguing nights. I mean, I wasn't personally going out with you guys in LA, but Philadelphia was nice. But yeah, the whole contention of the show today, we've got a lot of rumors to break down, a lot of reports that have come in from Nketiah to Merino to forward signings, etc. So we'll talk about it, comments, get your questions in. We're going to be here for around half an hour, 45 minutes. So listen, let's get straight into it. James, anyways, in terms of your current thoughts after the game against Leverkusen, 4-1 victory against the Bundesliga Invincibles. How are you feeling right now going into the new season? Because right now, look, one game away, Lyon on Sunday or Saturday. Sunday, right? And then you
Sunday,
got the game against Fulham next week or Wolves next week. So how do you feel? How confident are you feeling right now?
I've got to say, the Leverkusen game injected a lot of energy into me, and I imagine a lot of fans too. I think it's fair to say the preseason tour, as amazing as it is, and I don't ever want to downplay what an incredible experience it is, but it wasn't that much of an insight into what Arsenal are looking like in terms of shape and form and readiness for the new season. It gave us lots of other great insight, but the reality is that in previous seasons and summers we've seen a little bit more. This Leverkusen game, the 4-1 win, the performance, Saliba back, Rice playing 45, Saka playing 45, Raya getting a full 90. It made me think, wow, and with 10 days to go till the season actually kicks off, I thought, yeah, this was a really kind of energy fueling performance that made me really excited and made me believe that we're going to pick up where we left off.
Yeah. Look, honestly, after that Leverkusen game, I was very excited. I was actually meant to go to the game, didn't quite end up going, but I'm not sure if you were there. But it looked like quite the atmosphere. I'm not quite sure the Mexican waves though. I mean, is there really a place for that in English football? I mean, could you imagine that next year? Could you imagine next year in an intense title race game? Arsenal fans go, let's start Mexican wave. I think we'd have to pull for at least 3 points just for that alone.
Yeah, I've never loved Mexican waves at football, but then whatever people are doing to have a great time, listen, enjoy yourselves. It's friendly preseason, have fun.
It is.
That's the kind of the beauty of these friendlies at the Emirates is that actually maybe a lot of people who don't get to go to the Arsenal that often get a chance to. So,
It is really nice, isn't it? I actually think Emirates Cup's always a good debut for fans. It was my first game. I think Wolfsburg Arsenal. Theo Walcott must have scored. This is 2014 or 15 times. What was your first Arsenal game?
2006-7 season. Thierry Henry scored in a 3-0 win against Watford at the Emirates. Yeah, but I never went to Highbury, which is a shame. That's kind of one big regret of mine. I never saw Arsenal at Highbury, but yeah, 2006-7 was my first season.
I always find it mad because Highbury technically is still there, in terms of the actual structure. So you can technically walk into it and just walk into what a stadium would have been, which is kind of still crazy to this day. But we are at the Emirates Stadium now, and we've got the Emirates Cup. Is the Emirates Cup on Sunday, or was it just a friendly?
The Emirates Cup is Sunday. This was just a friendly against Leverkusen.
Okay, so we do end up potentially lifting silverware. So you can say, this year.
Add it to the Dubai Cup, all the other amazing friendly trophies we've won.
Does the Community Shield count as a friendly, or is it? Are we claiming Community Shield?
Do you know, without getting into it, I've always said this: the Community Shield's a trophy, but it's the one you quite considerably care the least about. I just think it's crazy that, albeit Arsenal didn't win the FA Cup, but you look at the previous ones where we had won the FA Cup to get there.
Yeah,
it's what? Nice. So the winner of the Premier League play the winner of the FA Cup, and we're not meant to enjoy it. We have to achieve something to get there. So, but that's name it the Super Cup, and all the money can still go to charity and all that. But name it the English Super Cup, and I promise people will care about it. But there we go.
Yeah, no, it is true. I also think it's because it's a plate. It doesn't help. If it was an actual, if you look at I think is it the Bundesliga, or they have an actual cup, is it DFB Pokal, or is it something that they actually looks like an actual cup, and then fans can say, okay, maybe it's a trophy. But you're right. Look, I was there last year. and it was amazing. I wouldn't treat that as a friendly. You know, when you've gone to the Emirates Cup and you've gone to games like that, you can sense it's a friendly atmosphere. Whereas the Community Shield last year, it was intense. You know, before Trossard scored the goal, fans were so. You know, I hear where I think maybe a lot of rival fans have tried to downplay us because we want the Community Shield. But if you win it yourself, it's just a nice thing to have. You know, it's not something it's not negative, is it?
No, Bhavs, like we spend our lives, right? Whether it be on YouTube, whether it be people writing articles or just on social media giving opinion, we give our opinions on players and managers, how well they're playing, how well they're doing their job. And we often do it from a distance. We often do it having no idea what it's actually like at that level, right? So, okay, fans and everyone has a right to an opinion, but I find it crazy that we want to police to the managers and players what they should and shouldn't care about.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
Look at Kyle Walker's celebration for that goal a year ago. Look at Arteta's celebration in the 98th minute when we equalised. Like, tell these guys it doesn't matter. Like, fine. You don't have to care about it. But I just think this idea that we should tell the players who are enjoying the medals and the occasion, be like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I'm just like, all right, listen, each to their own. But I'm going to enjoy it. And it was a year on, and this year we don't get to enjoy it. But if Man United or City win it this weekend, I won't mock them.
Who do you think is going to win it? Because my little brother, who is unfortunately United fans, going to the game. So I hope they don't win it, personally, United fans. But I don't know, man. United at Wembley always have something up their sleeve. I don't think they've got a good chance, but I think it's possible.
Do you know, I'd want to say United. I have this feeling that they're a little bit more. They've had players back for longer and all that. But you know where I give City the edge is, I think City will be really hurt by the way they lost that FA Cup final. I actually think they'll be like, hold on, we got done in that final. Like United definitely deserve to win it. It's more of a tactically, the way the teams played, it was more of a 3-0 than it was a 2-1. So I honestly think City will want to right the wrongs of 2-3 months ago.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that, but let's change topics and talk about Arsenal transfer news, which is what we're here for today. James, Eddie Nketiah to Marseille. Whether it's happening or it's not, whether they've turned to Wahi or they've turned back to Nketiah, it looks like, for me, it's going to happen. Whether it's a loan with the obligation to buy, it looks like Arsenal are going to let him go. It looks like he wants to go. And to be fair, working under Roberto De Zerbi, I think it's a very exciting project, so I can see why he wants to go there. I do wonder what happens now that Solanke's going to Tottenham, which we got to hear we go from today, and how that affects the play. Because look, if a Prem side comes in for Eddie Nketiah, I'd much prefer to sell him there, because Arsenal can get more money up front and it's better for the club in general. But if the player wants to move to Marseille, do you, as a fan, want to see him go there?
Yeah, Baz, this is going to sound so rude of me, but I just don't really care where he ends up. Like, obviously, seems a nice guy. Like, no, I know that sounds really bad of me. Like, he seems a really nice guy. I want him to go do well, but like to a point. I think I'm much more concerned about the fee, and I'm much more concerned about the money coming in. I think 26 million is good business. Like, I'm happy with that, even if it comes in next year. And sorry, that was rude of me. I didn't mean to dismiss your question.
No, it's really fine. It's fine.
It's not the question I'm dismissing. It's more the point I'm trying to really emphasize. Like, whether he ends up at Bournemouth and proves it in the Premier League, cool, good for him. If he goes to Marseille, bags a load of gold in France, good on him. Like, wherever it happens, I just think Arsenal, as long as they get the deal they want and it's able to trigger the next set of moves in the transfer market, that's all I need. I mean, I'm much more concerned about this getting done sooner than I am it being like the right club for him, if you know what I mean. Do you have a preference? Like, do you mind whether it's Marseille or Bournemouth?
For me, I think the sooner he's out of the door, the better for Arsenal. And I say that because I want a striker to come in or a forward to come in. And so wherever he goes, I want the saga over as soon as possible. Wish him the best of luck. I've got nothing against him as a player. I just think if he can get that move sorted ASAP, we can get either funds in or a space open. For me, then it gives Arsenal an extra incentive to go and sign that forward. And then it becomes a question of where that is. Is it a striker or is it a winger? But for me, I want a saga over and done with because I've heard about it all summer now. And we know about Marseille's interest. I don't want to hear them change too many targets again. Get it done. Get your fee in. Get the 30 million euros, and I think it's a fine deal. I think we could have demanded a little bit more money, but I think someone made a very good point a while back, and it was like, imagine Arsenal went out tomorrow and signed a third choice striker from a club that's never scored over 10 league goals for £35 million. Would you, as a fan, be happy with that? And the answer is no. So I can see why 30 million euros makes sense. He's never had a year of being a starter at Arsenal. So for me, I'm just on the side of get the deal done as soon as possible and move forward to your next targets.
Yeah, That's literally where I am. Like, and where is he in the pecking order right now? I mean, is he even second, third choice? I'd argue he's fourth choice. I think he's behind at the moment. I think he's behind Havertz, Jesus, and Trossard in that position. I think when we won 6-0 at West Ham, people kind of forget that it was Trossard leading the line. It was away at Burnley was the same. Trossard leading the line, Havertz in midfield, and then they're alternating positions a lot. Now, he does that a lot more when it's Jesus in the team as well, but even without him, he's happy to get Trossard in that team to try and get that kind of chemistry between the midfield and attack. And I think as the season went on, we just turned to Nketiah less and less and less, to the point where I think he barely kicked a ball in 2024. So, look, all this kind of Nketiah, let's just call it how it is. He gets a lot of heat, doesn't he, from Arsenal fans? He's not a talentless player, far from it. I actually think
he's not.
When you've got a player who comes through a Hale End, clearly loves the club, works incredibly hard, you cannot fault his work rate, and has done what he can to make it. Like, I can't hate on the guy. I wish him all the best, but I'm just like very selfishly and very coldly just more interested in getting the right deal. And I think 26 million is actually good value for him personally.
Yeah. I agree. Got a super chat here from says people are stupid if they think Neto is better than Martinelli. I think that's regarding the new transfer. That kind of caught me off guard. I mean, I expected him to leave this summer, but to go to Chelsea, what do you make of that? Are you looking at that and going, look, that's a good deal? Or, like most fans, like that are non-Chelsea, you're going, hang on a minute, 60 million euros for a guy who's quite often very injury prone. Surely it's a bit of a risky deal.
You know what, man? I feel like a lot of these deals and a lot of the transfers that have sort of happened, I will almost have my final opinion once we hit 11 p.m. on deadline day. And the reason I say that is because right now, today, when I got the news about Pedro Neto to Chelsea, was I that bothered? Again, I was pretty calm about it. I went, okay, that's one we might have looked at. That's one I'd have liked at Arsenal. Best of luck to him at Chelsea. Well, no, not best of luck to him at Chelsea. Obviously, I hope it goes badly. But, whatever.
Right now,
well, I just wasn't that.
For being real.
That's
what I'm saying. If he was going to Man City, I think it'd be more asked.
Say that again?
If he was going to Man City, I think it would be a lot more asked. And there was reports that they had interest as well.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think we would, because I rate him massively as a player. And I thought, okay, well, then I guess we focus on other targets. I do think, though, if the deadline day comes and, the deadline comes and goes and we haven't brought in a forward of any kind, whether it be a striker or a winger, I'm looking at that. What do they pay? So 63 million euros in total. What's that, about 57 million pounds? I will say Arsenal should have gambled on that. I think that is a worthwhile gamble on a player that, if he keeps his fitness, can add a lot to this team. But that's not the way Arsenal wanted to go. Maybe Chelsea just got ahead of us and did it very quickly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the player himself, if you could give me a fully fit Pedro Neto, he's definitely worth that price tag. But how often have we seen a player that's been injury prone just not be that anymore and become fully fit and available and just get past his problems? Normally we see these players have those problems throughout their entire career, and he's still pretty young as well. So I think it's a gamble. And also, more importantly, is that what they needed? Because I'm sure you've seen his graphic here. They've got quite a lot of options. Like a lot of options. Yeah, I mean, they could field a Royal Rumble at this point. And do you know what I mean?
Honestly,
it is quite crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
they're signing goalkeepers every single day. They've got Neto in now as well. I don't know who else they've signed, because they've signed so many players. I mean, they're going to end the window with a new 11 at this point.
Yeah, you asked me if they needed him. I think, is he better than what they've got? I think, yeah. Therefore, they did. Basically.
Yeah.
Is he better than Sterling? Is he better than Mudryk? Is he better than Madueke? Is he better than using Nkunku wide? Doesn't mean you can play Palmer in the 10. For that reason alone, Pedro Neto is a good signing because he's better than what they've got. However, it's just like extraordinary. Like, we're at the point of just being like, oh, here's another one for Chelsea. So, they claim to have a model, or some claim to have a model and a plan. And if they do, fine, we'll see it emerge. Maybe in 3 years, they're going to be the unstoppables. Maybe all these players, and especially these youngsters, will emerge into supreme talents that we can't get near. And if that's the case, then we'll all, they'll sit there and laugh at us for doubting it. But I just think when I saw the Neto deal happen, I just thought Chelsea are getting a good player. He does make them better next season. But from my perspective and Arsenal's perspective, I just thought, okay, well, that's one we won't go for. Let's see who else is out there.
Yeah, that is true. And there have been Arsenal fans talking on Twitter, like we always do. And I think you know who
Mm.
I'm going to go to next because they aren't rumors, there ain't no reports, there is nothing concrete at all. It's just fan made at this point, but it's worth a discussion for sure. If Chelsea are signing Neto, which is basically done, it does open up a certain player who Mikel
I know.
Arteta was once willing to spend his record amount on, by the way. So there's got to
Yeah.
be surely if you're willing to spend a record amount on, there may still be a level of interest there. We are talking about, hear me out. And
Mm.
again, I'm just putting forward an Arsenal opinion right now. It's not my opinion. I don't think we should go and sign him. But hey, I will say I am intrigued by it because if Mikel's willing to spend what 60, 70 million pounds on him, why? And has that changed with more Premier League experience? Yes, it's not been amazing, but with more time to acclimatise to England, could we go back in for Mudryk? What do you reckon?
Okay, let me start on the positives.
Go on.
He is a player whose profile I think would be great for this squad. I'm talking like his pace, got a bit of power about him. But back in my heyday, when I was 18, I was the profile that Arsenal maybe needed in midfield. But I wouldn't sign me because I'm absolutely terrible.
Okay.
Like what I'm trying to say is like, if Mudryk is developed by Arteta into everything that everyone said he was going to be, brilliant, great. We need that kind of player. But he's been so bad at Chelsea. Like, let's be honest. He's actually shown some moments. He has shown very few moments, but he's been terrible. He's been really bad. Now, I think, to be fair, only Cole Palmer really has kind of Cole Palmer, Thiago Silva. They're the only players I can really think of that have played to the level you'd expect at Chelsea.
That's true. That's true.
Cucurella, bad first season, did okay the second season. Like I'm also willing to acknowledge the environment and what part that plays in all this. But no, do you know what's going to sound crazy? And I know what Arsenal fans in the chat are going to say. If it's deadline day and we've got no one, I'd gamble on Arteta getting this one right. I'd gamble on Arteta saving another player, because even just having someone that Arteta can get to a 6, 7 out of 10 sort of rate of performance, at least it might add something. But he's like very far down the list. So I'd rather gamble on a Kingsley Coman. You know what I mean? I'd rather like take that kind of player and see if we can get the best out of him.
True.
I know people saying rare James awful take. Look, I think it's so imperative.
It's like Marmite.
Line.
Yeah. It is very much Marmite because you have some fans go, hang on a minute, I see what Mikel's cooking there. And some fans go, no, not a chance. And it was the same with Havertz. And now he's an integral part of the first team. So I'm willing, only if Mikel wants him. Right now, I'm not going to give any weight to the rumor whatsoever. But only if we get a report comes out, hey, Mikel sees something as an opportunity. And also, how much Chelsea want for the player? Because they spent, quite a lot. So surely you want to recoup maybe 50, 40 million pounds. Is the current form Mudryk worth that? Not a chance. And so I'm definitely fascinated by what Mikel saw in it. That's all it is. And the fact that, go on.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Apologize, very rude. No, but like, I'm talking low on this list. I'm talking like, we've tried for Rashford, we've tried for Kudus, we've tried for Osimhen, we've tried for Gyökeres, we've tried for like even the ones that aren't really signable, but we've just knocked on the door. Bakayoko, people are mentioning. We've done everything for Nico Williams. We've gone for Kingsley Coman, Serge Gnabry. Do you want to move back to North London? I'm talking. We've tried like everything, and if it really is like, nope, no other deal, then fine. I would actually risk it purely because his profile is.
He's got physical fundamentals. That's what it is. I mean, I think what Mikel probably saw him before he went to Chelsea was the pace, directness, the technical quality straight away. But he doesn't have that natural footballing IQ that maybe Havertz has. So for him, it's a lot more of coaching him. And Mikel could coach him, by the way. But we're at a stage now where we're trying to win a title. And we have to get that next extra 5% next year. Does Mudryk offer us that straight away? Not a chance. Not my eyes, at least. But it's weird because I remember I was watching remember his first appearance for Chelsea when he came off the bench against Liverpool, and he was razor sharp, and he was just driven past players left, right, and centre. If we got that Mudryk, and a Mudryk, with more confidence, then yeah. But I don't think we're at a time right now that, unless it's the last option, as you said, we have time to invest in the project again. because Mudryk's a project. It's not a ready-made signing. I'm more likely to.
Exactly.
I can understand Mikel Merino, for example, because he's ready-made and he's ready to go right now. For Mudryk, I think you're right. There's more options first. And you talked about a certain player that I'm sure more Arsenal fans will be excited about. Kingsley Coman looks like he could be available with an initial loan with the option to buy, according to Fabrizio Romano and Sky Sports in Germany. Is this a player that you would take a risk on?
Yeah, again, like he wouldn't be that high up on my list. He'd certainly be higher than Mudryk because of what he's done for the last few years at very high European level. Is he scored a Champions League final? I think he has to win Bayern Munich final against PSG. I mean, like, I'm just looking at the chat, right? Mohammed mentions Leroy Sane, Spacetime mentions Leao, Rashford, Rodrygo. Like these players would all be above Coman in my list. But again, thing is, I'm a bit of a casual, right? Outside the Premier League, I don't watch much football. I don't really pretend to like be experts on all these other players in other leagues. What I would say on Kingsley Coman is like when I have seen him in the Champions League, he's torn us apart. Whenever I've seen him play under, top managers when Bayern are in their pomp or Guardiola, whoever, like he's looked electric. He's looked like he's got that burst of pace. He looked like he can go right and left. He can terrorize fullbacks. And I think we need a little bit of that. I mean, everyone talks about the striker. Yeah, if you can add a 30-goal a season number 9, who's saying no to that? We all want that. But if you can just add a different dynamic, a different problem, a different question to either wing, I know Saka feels undroppable. But imagine we go into Premier League going, listen, we've got Real Madrid on Wednesday. Saka, you're sitting this one out. We're playing Coman and Martinelli as our wingers. Like the opposition aren't feeling much better about that. They're going, okay, great, Saka's not playing, but okay, now we've got to deal with this. Yeah, I would. Again, it's another one that as we're getting... This is the 9th of August, people, right? We're not... Because I see the comments. Like, I'm not... Yeah, but I was also saying it's not the 28th of June. Like, it's the 9th of August. You've got 3 weeks. Our bar is coming lower for what we'd accept. But that's also me downplaying how good I think Coman can be. What about you? How high up on your list would Kingsley Coman be?
Fairly low. And it's mainly because of this.
Right,
he's got a very, very poor injury history. And if we're going to talk about Neto, and we're talking about how many games he's missed, the amount of muscular problems we've seen with Kingsley Coman, I don't think it's ideal. And we can talk about him not being a starter straight away, but I always think if you're going to leave Bayern Munich, you'd want to go somewhere you're going to get first team guaranteed minutes. And that won't be at Arsenal. Now, fully fit Coman could start for Arsenal for sure. But how often is he fully fit? How reliable is he? And we've seen it with Takehiro Tomiyasu. He's a profile that you can't discount, but when you have a player who's constantly injured, you just can't rely upon him. The only thing I'd give Coman is the fact that it's a loan, with the option to buy maybe, where you take a risk. And if you can find the right level of environment for him, as the little super chat said, then I think he could thrive and he can explode straight away. But looking at that, look at the amount of injuries in 23-24.
I was going to say,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 separate injuries. All muscular related and one knee related. So I don't think that's a good sign. That's not a good sign whatsoever. And that's why, personally, I would stay away. There's also another report, by the way, that's come out. And look, again, there are reports that have come out. I don't know how reliable they are, but they come out around Arsenal Twitter. And it's regarding Real Madrid's Rodrygo. I feel like Robbie right now. I'm just talking about players that just probably won't sign for Arsenal. But hey, it's worth a discussion, eh? Do you reckon there's a chance that they could sell him? Because look, it's a matter of they've signed Mbappe, they've got Jude Bellingham, they've got a lot of players on massive wages. Where does he start for them? Mbappe goes down the middle, you've got Vinny on the left. Does he start on the right? Endrick's been playing quite a few games of preseason as well. Look, he's a player who's an opportunity. If he becomes available, you go for him straight away. But would he then start over Martinelli? Or is he more of a right winger? So what would you make of Rodrygo the player, if you have watched him in depth?
Oh, you've got to sign him. Like, you don't start games for Real Madrid Champions League finals if you're not a talented player. I think he arrived shortly after Vinicius, and it's like,
yeah, he did.
Talk about that for timing. He's special. Who's the source? La SAR.
I'm pretty sure it's a La Liga based source. So
I mean,
I can look into more research of how reliable it is. But
no, I was just curious. I mean, 1.4 million. Like, okay, so they're established as a media outlet in some capacity, right? So, I would love this deal. I would love this deal.
So would I. So would I. I think I would love the deal because I think he's a starting caliber player straight away, and I don't see any major concerns, whether it's injuries or talent. or IQ or development. This is a player that can come into the team straight away and thrive. And I'm pretty sure he starts over Martinelli sometimes for the national team as well as a left winger. And we've seen the quality and how quality is in tight spaces. And I think that's Martinelli's big issue is where Trossard can thrive in those tight spaces. He's not as good in those. Rodrygo has similar levels of pace to Martinelli, but he's also very good in those tight spaces, very technically gifted. If he's available, you go and sign him. It would be a Mesut Ozil type of signing where he kind of became available in 2012, 13, and Arsenal Wenger said, look, let me go and sign him. If he becomes available, he suits what Arsenal need as well. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal made a move. And look, we have a decent relationship with Real Madrid, you know?
Yeah,
Martin
we do,
Odegaard, Mesut Ozil, Dani Ceballos. There are players we've loaned back and forwards with them. So, I think if he was available, we have a good chance of signing him, but I just don't think he's gonna be available. But I saw the rumour. I thought it'd be worth putting out there.
No, listen, I'm going to back you, and this is definitely one to cover and discuss because Real Madrid have this thing about them here. Everyone kind of knows them as, you know, a royalty of a club who have won so many Champions Leagues and spent big money along the way, but they're quite smart with their business. Like yes, obviously a lot of money went into getting Mbappe, but they also saved a lot by not paying the transfer fee. Now, I know, again, like I said, sign-on fee, the salary, all that. But, you know, they do try to move quite smart. When it comes to their midfielders, you know, they went and got Tchouaméni and Camavinga. Yeah, they spent money on them. There's no question. But, and got them ready as Kroos and Modric, you know, were coming to retirement for one, you know, another year for another. And I just think that if Rodrygo, if they thought they could get 70 million for him, I think they go, yeah, because that's going to just help fund the Mbappe thing. Is he going to start? Well, they haven't really been playing full 3-3. They've been playing more with sort of Jude Bellingham behind, you know, a front two, which was actually Rodrygo and Vinicius. Could you play Bellingham in midfield in a midfield three and get Rodrygo on the right? You could do that, but they might just go, well, listen, we can make a load of money and Ancelotti will just make it work. They're not a club to shy away from selling players for big money. Like, if they think it suits them, then they'll do it. So, yeah, I would absolutely do it. I'd spend big money to get this one done if it were possible. For what it's worth, I don't think it will happen. But I think it's kind of the stars have aligned a little bit. The number 10's available. You know, they just signed Mbappe. We need a player who can play right. Well, we need a player who can play right, left, and actually plays down the middle as well for Brazil.
And that's the key part is that he can play left and right. And that's why I think profile-wise, he's actually absolutely perfect. He's got pace. He's technically gifted. He would. I think he's a caliber of player. If you sign him, you could give him the number 10. There's been a lot of talk of who's going to get it next, whether it's an Arsenal player in the current squad right now, which I don't think is going to happen. I'm not sure if you saw the rumours about Nwaneri wearing the 10, but I don't think that's going to happen either. Not at least in the next 2-3 years. So he's a level signing. But if we signed him, you'd imagine a front three of either Havertz or Jesus in the middle, and then you've got Saka and Rodrygo on either side, and then you've got Martinelli to come into that as well. So that would be insane. But he's not, in my eyes, available. But one player that is available is Victor Osimhen. And this is what kind of surprises me, is the fact that he is so available, not involved in their squad. Conte's come out and said that he doesn't want to keep him and he wants Lukaku instead and all those type of rumours. Why do you think Arsenal have not made a move? Do you reckon it's maybe more of a mental profile or stuff they know behind the scenes? Because surely in terms of the player itself, it seems like a bit of a no-brainer because of what he'd offer Arsenal and what we don't have.
Yeah, I don't know on this one. I mean, we know that his 23-24 wasn't as good as his 22-23. But that's fine. I mean, you know, still scored goals. I know he's had injury problems. Is he the right profile striker we want? I would think so, but maybe Arteta doesn't. Is it the fact you can only play as a 9? Therefore, you kind of have him and Havertz battling out, and that's it. Unless he wants to play Havertz in midfield. Well, there could be lots of reasons. Is it something we don't know about the person? I don't know. No one. I've never seen any suggestion that there's anything to worry about on that front. So I think there are a lot of reasons why it maybe isn't the right fit, but I just think, again, I'm in this, like I said, 9th of August, I'm just in this, it's time to gamble. It's time to, and if it does mean 75, 80 million on Osimhen, well, why not? He shot Napoli to the title. Like, why could he not maybe replicate that form? Why could he not maybe do it in the Premier League? And you know, if we get it wrong, we get it wrong, but at least fans will go, you know what, you tried. Like, you absolutely had a go. You got a player that had incredible, and if it is something about his like personality or something, then of course, like maybe you don't want to disrupt that. But again, I've seen no suggestion of that. So if it's just a case of doubts as to whether he really is the right fit, again, I'd be saying gamble, take it, have a go and see what happens.
I think the only thing that I've seen personality-wise is he's gone maybe live on Instagram a few times where he's called out the Nigerian coach and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
But apart from that, he's an insanely good presser. He'd offer Arsenal a presence in the box that we don't really have. I mean, Havertz, you can say, is giving us it to an extent now, but not in general. And moments as well. He's a moments player. He scores important goals. We've seen it for Napoli when they won the Serie A. You know, he can be a very good poacher, a very good player in the box as well. So I feel like I'm surprised, and we have a theory of the Cannon podcast with me, Alex, and George, that maybe that we're waiting for the price to go lower and lower to the point where it becomes a no-brainer. But again, that's 4D chess that I'm not sure we're playing, and it's kind of fantasizing. But we've got a super chat saying, I'm guessing Osimhen will score goals, and we don't have that in the squad right now. Looking at our current striking options, and having seen that man of the match performance from Kai against, Leverkusen, playing up front in the second half, and I don't know, I think it kind of surprised me how well he dealt with the likes of Jonathan Tah. He's a 6'4" defender, and he was bullying him at one point as well. So, do you reckon if Kai was our main striker this season, and maybe we sign a wide forward, don't know who it is, but we sign a wide forward, and Nketiah goes, is he enough with Gabriel Jesus fit and Trossard as well, and Saka obviously improving as well, enough for Arsenal to go win a title?
I don't know. We asked this on AFTV Watch on the other day, like, can we win the league with Havertz up front? Yeah, we can. We got to 89 points, right? We can. We are capable. Will we? Do I think it will happen? I think it's more likely we don't win the title with Havertz leading the line. I feel bad saying it. He's done really well in this, last calendar year in 2024. I think he's been brilliant. And, he definitely has something up front that other players don't add, that we don't get from Trossard, from Jesus, maybe a real, leading the line presence. I think he stretches teams quite well, but I just don't know if he's clinical enough. I don't know if he's dangerous enough. I don't know if teams fear him enough. There's something about Haaland that is just, and I know not everyone has to be Erling Haaland. I know Haaland's a unicorn, but I would still be apprehensive if our best front three next season is Martinelli, Havertz, Saka, or maybe Trossard, Havertz, Saka. Something will tell me that, yeah, maybe we'll start in the kind of form that we started last season, but eventually that might get found out a little bit. And I don't still know where that real match-winning quality is. I don't know where that real, gets you off your feet quality is. From the 9, I mean, Saka brings that, Marseille brings that. But, that moment out of nothing, I do think we need a little bit more of that up front, personally.
I think with Havertz, no, I agree to an extent, but with Kai himself, it is a weird one because we talk about him not being dangerous or threatening, but to be quite honest, he kind of is. He's not a Haaland in terms of fear, and I feel like part of the reason is because his time at Chelsea and the stigma around Havertz, the player, and then his first year at Arsenal as well. First half of the season wasn't quite that. If we judged him off just the second half of last year, where he was playing as a striker and kind of found his role in the team, he's been very clinical. And he's scored a lot of goals and he's taken his chances. I'm not saying he's been world-class by any means, but he's been very ruthless. And I feel like if we'd signed him straight out of Leverkusen in 1920, and we had that Havertz and all the stigma around him at the time and his reputation, I think there'll be a lot more excitement right now of Havertz leading our line. Whereas right now, a lot of fans still have that Chelsea bias in their minds of, Kang, when he was at Chelsea, kind of missed a lot of chances, so surely he's a bad finisher. But we saw a super chat earlier from Matthew who says environment is key. And in the right environment right now, Havertz is scoring goals. He's getting assists. Was it 2 assists and 1 goal against Leverkusen? And, I'm not sure what you make of his new role, where he's playing as a left number 8 and kind of working next to Trossard and Jesus, forming a partnership. But I think there's a good chance that he scores more than 13 goals this year. And, I actually put him forward as maybe our top scorer this season because of the amount of chances that he creates himself with his movement alone.
I hear all that, and I agree. I just also think it's true that while his movement, the use of him tactically, while there's the work rate is phenomenal, definitely gets into good areas, there's no doubt about that. Yet there's, I think, a lot to praise there, especially for what he did from 2024 onwards. However, I still feel that I still think there's a lack of conviction in his game. I think he showed against Leverkusen, the assists, the momentum around the penalty area, that cutback for Zinchenko was brilliant. The run, the cutback, he did some really good things. But I mean, I also don't want to form like my opinion whether we have a new Havertz based on some preseason games.
Of course.
Like what the Premier League, had lots of pros but lots of cons too. So let's see. I think where I am with it, Bhavs, is that I wouldn't risk it. Like he could be brilliant. He could do all these things, but I just think we're trying to beat Man City, so I wouldn't risk it. I think the margins are too fine, and I would bring someone in anyway, whether Havertz is brilliant or not.
I feel like fans are fair to think like that, as in it's fair to assume, not knowing if Havertz can be the guy right now, because we've not seen it for sure. But from the signs I saw at the end of last season, if we got to the end of the year and Havertz is our top goal scorer and we do end up winning a title, I'm not gonna be that surprised because I've seen the signs, and that's what I'm saying right now. But I also justify your side of things right now, where you're not quite sure because we've not seen Haaland. We've seen, so we know what we're gonna get from him. Because we've not seen Havertz just yet. I think I can get why there's a level of uncertainty, but personally, I see a lot of positive signs. Anyways, back to transfer.
But also, sorry,
unless you got something, go on.
Sorry, no, I just want to add very quickly. But his change, his form in 2024 is why I'm fine with adding a winger and not a striker. Like if I were convinced Havertz isn't the guy, I'd be like, you have to buy a striker. Eddie's going out. Kai isn't the guy. Jesus injury prone. Trossard's never played there. Like it's imperative we sign a striker. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying if we get a winger, that's fine because I think you have other solutions, and I think Havertz might step up. So for me, it's just about adding someone dangerous to that front line that maybe takes up one of those three positions, or at least pushes those in it. So don't get me wrong. My opinion on Kai Havertz is changing massively with every game. I think he's looked really good in preseason, but I just wouldn't chance it by adding no one and going, no, the guys we've got are great.
No, I agree.
I
agree. I think it's very important that we sign an attacker. I just don't know if he'll be a striker, so I think it's more likely to be a winger. We got a comment there about Havertz maybe not making a big game. I thought like we'll sign a forward. So I'm not quite sure where it's going to be, but I think it'll be a forward. I think if Eddie goes, we have to sign a forward. It's a must.
I agree.
And then it's a matter of who's available. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone caught us off guard. A lot of transfers nowadays kind of enter negotiations, and if Arsenal really want a player, it'll be done within a day. And we've seen it as well. Unless Arsenal negotiate the price down with like Merino and Calafiori, and it's worked out there. But yeah, we'll see about that. We've got a little comment about Havertz maybe not being a big game player. I'd argue Spurs away last year, got a goal. You got an assist against United away, scored against Chelsea and co as well. So I think he's proving it. But we need a bigger sample size, which I agree to. Final bit of transfer news on Mikel Merino. This is kind of a bit old at this point. I don't know who he is, but apparently he knows his stuff. Apparently. Can you give us the Fabrizio Romano accent, seeing as you're also Italian?
No, because I'll butcher it. My mum will kill me. So
no, you have to.
Well, I'll say it in Italian accent. Fabrizio Romano. That's his name. That's his.
Oh, I can say that as well. Fabrizio Romano.
But I can't roll my R's, so I'm a bit of a fake Italian, as a lot of people like to remind me in the comments.
Do you know what I find funny is when you were shouting Italian to Rodrygo in the first match? Was it?
Oh man, bless his heart. I don't think he really cared.
What did you even say to him?
I think I said to Calafiori, what else I said, like, welcome to the club and good luck. Then I said to Jorginho, safe journey. I said, well played. No, I said, well played, because I thought he played really well against Man United. So I just said, great game. That's all I said to him. I sort of panicked. But yeah, I wish I could have been a bit more creative. He might have answered, but yeah. Anyway, Mikel Merino.
It's okay, we'll get more opportunities. Mikel Merino, according to Fabrizio Romano, is that Arsenal remain in active talks to complete the deal. More steps to follow. Personal terms have been agreed, and clubs are working on the deal and payment terms over 25 million euros. That for me is promising. Is when you're talking about payment terms and structures, the deal's kind of getting closer to getting done. It's advancing, and the fact that the player has made it so clear he wants to go to Arsenal. I've seen a lot of Spanish reports come out as well that he's kind of his dream to move to the Premier League, not play to Arsenal, but move to the Premier League and maybe work under Mikel Arteta. And the fact that he said no to Atletico and Barca, or not giving them the time of day like he has given Arsenal, is promising. I think it's a deal that gets done, and once in my eyes it gets done, do you feel like he starts for us straight away, or do you think Mikel will slowly integrate him into the first team? What do you see Mikel's Merino's role in this Arsenal first team and how it develops?
I think Merino is Arteta's answer to everything Havertz does really well from the left day and everything he does badly. Like I think if you want Merino and build up, because you split your centre backs and your full backs have gone up the pitch, he's got no problem being a part of that double pivot. I think if you need him ghosting in behind Gabby Jesus, where Odegaard drops deep, Zinchenko and Wirtz will do all that as well. I think if you need him just to get in the pockets, get the ball and feed our left winger or combine with a striker, I think he'll do that as well. When Saka's got that ball out on the right wing, he can't go on the outside of his fullback. He wants to cut in and find the back post. Merino's very good with his head. He showed it at the Euros, but his aerial numbers are phenomenal as well. I think he adds so much to our midfield, again, because he's just a profile. One criticism of Arteta, for me, it's like, Mikel, you literally wore the number 8. You were a number 8. You were someone who contributed in the final third with goals, who worked hard defensively, who could sit as a 6, who could play as the 8, whatever. Like, Arteta was a very good Premier League footballer. He wasn't world class. He never played for Spain, but he was a very good Premier League footballer. And I'm like, why have you not signed you? I'm like, why have you not signed a player that does what you did? He signed a lot of 6s, Jorginho, Partey, Lokonga, Declan Rice. And he signed a lot of 10s. Vieira, he developed Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, he got Kai Havertz can play in that area, but he never really signed that number 8, the guy who goes, I'm a little bit of everything. And I think Merino, purely because of his profile, but also the strengths and weaknesses have been broken down brilliantly by you guys on the Cannon podcast and other people I've watched as well. Like, he just fits so well into our midfield. Does he come in immediately? Arteta will see a thing he likes, and if we keep performing like we did against Leverkusen, he won't do a lot to change that. But eventually, Mikel Merino will be a staple in this team for me.
I think it's a very good chance he does that. And we have heard the rumours about Zubimendi going to Liverpool and how that affects it. I don't think they're going to let both go. And that's why I'm not concerned. I don't think I'm concerned, but I think the reality is the sooner we get the deal done, the better. Because if they do agree with the deal with Liverpool, then I think things will become a little more complicated. Because that's 2 starters they have. They've just qualified, I think, for the Champions League last year as well. And so if you lose Zubimendi as your 6 and Merino as your 8 as well, and these are players that have been there for long term as well, then I think it might be a problem. But I feel like we're a lot closer to getting that deal done than these guys here. So we'll see about that there. I'm not really too concerned as of right now, but I think you're right. Sort of stat here. He was the highest rated central midfielder in both La Liga last year and the Champions League. And so he's definitely underrated, definitely underrated. And for the price tag, do I see a player value 25 million euros? I think 110%. And I feel like what he could offer Arsenal is what we don't have, as you've said already. And if we want to see a more in-depth analysis on a player, then we do have a specific scouting report available on the Cannon podcast with even video review, I believe, on Patreon. So check that out as well. But James, my friend, it has been a pleasure to have you on the Cannon podcast. Your debut, I think it was solid, to be quite honest. Comments.
Thank you.
Give James a rating out of 10 on his debut. Player ratings. Player ratings all the time. We'll do podcast ratings.
3s and 4s coming in if I'm lucky. No, I appreciate it.
I think at least a solid 9, 9.5. It's solid, isn't it?
That's very kind of you. Oh, let's see. Look, I appreciate that, man. And it's been great fun. And I think it was interesting you saying that you think we'll sign a forward as well. I was really, you lot are too kind, bless. I really hope Arsenal. A clip did that. I think AFTV shared it, and me saying it's a 3 out of 10 window if we don't sign a forward. And like, I was being a bit hyperbolic in the context of the conversation. The point I was really trying to make is like, I think Calafiori's great. I'm so happy we signed him. I don't know if we needed him. I think we did, but I don't think it was a priority. Marino, I'd be delighted about. It's not the superstar midfielder I wanted, but I'd be happy about that. But I just feel so much lands on this difference maker in the front 3. This guy that gives us something different and refreshes our attack. And if Arsenal don't do that deal, like, does it check? Like, will I suddenly go, oh, we're not winning the league? No, I think we're still very capable of winning the league. But if we do it, I'll just my excitement for the season will just go through the roof. And I really hope Arsenal do it. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure there'll be plenty more appearances at the Cannon podcast. You're getting a lot of good reviews, 10 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s.
You're way too kind, thank you.
It's a solid debut, I'm sure if it was on AFTV, the players would be a bit more 5, 6. But I think 10's pretty nice. It's a good debut.
You're all being too kind, so thank you. Someone said I need to hit the weights. They're not wrong. I'll tell you that.
Mate. He'll get on it. He'll get on it soon. Anyways, James, pleasure as always. And lads, we'll see you later. Peace.